All right, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Okay, pretty good, not too bad. It's been long hours, a lot of shit happening.
All legislation going up. I know that means long hours behind it.
Yeah, there's just there's been a lot of shit that's been happening. Honestly, the last couple weeks, it's more just egregiousness and more reasons why I'm so excited to go back to the private sector.
More egregiousness.
Oh my god,
It's been discovered or been actually acted on.
well acted
Are these
on, like it's already
okay.
been acted.
Been done.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but it's like too much cobwebs, and the broom isn't big enough. It's just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let it all burn. A lot of financial corruption. Money is being borrowed. Okay.
This is the assistant chief. Let me just let him know where I'm at. You mind if he comes to this?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Not this part, because he's gonna stir it.
Okay. Out of there, Peter.
Say 5 minutes.
Having a quick meeting with Nino. I'll 25 with you here in just a minute. All right.
So,
Will do. Bye-bye.
This is being looked at by the marshals. So just kind of keep this in mind, so this cannot be discussed with the potential, individuals. Turner, there's money that is been moving from the DOJ to the BCSO account to personal accounts in order to purchase property and flip it. I want you to take that in for a second.
To flip it with the intent of flipping it to make a profit.
We don't. That's what it appears like. And it's such a gross misappropriation of funds. It's, I don't know. That's like one of like a bullet list of 12, and some of this shit we're like only now learning. And mind you, my office didn't discover it, right? It's law enforcement that did. Yeah. So
in this department or that department?
The marshals realized
okay.
it.
All right.
Yeah. So there is a lot of, when there's so many, it's like playing whack-a-mole, right? But the problem is whacking a singular mole is a lot of effort. So if a bunch of the moles are popping out of the machine at once, what the fuck are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? But the feeling is definitely overwhelming, right? So it's,
I just,
yeah. The problem gets exacerbated when you realize that the DOJ is, involved in that as well. I mean, I'm sure you know about a dereliction of duty coming up. Like, there's going to be a discussion with the governor around that. There's been money movement to and fro the DOJ account.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah, governor's coming in for the filed impeachments, and that's only for the dereliction aspect. Some of the justices have not even clocked in this entire term.
We're talking about Barrett's?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Were you stacking y'all's on top of that, or
I came to the realization that my office simply does not have the bandwidth to take it all the way, and so I've instructed my team to give it to Barrett as it makes more sense, right? So that there's like a more coherent argument to be made. Our general intention, and I think this is something that I feel is reasonable, is we at the heads of government should not be playing fuckery, as it causes very significant damage. I am of the personal opinion that when you start playing around with funds and breaking rules with legislation legally, like at that high of a level, it to me is like the equivalent of law enforcement going in and fucking around with MDT reports or just like printing them out. It's because it's something very difficult to notice. It's and has such far-reaching consequences.
Right.
So I think our general
So
goal.
you're saying money's going from just to make sure I understand, from DOJ to
It's going.
BCSO.
It's coming from the federal account to DOJ, and then there's transactions from the DOJ to the BCSO and vice versa.
Who the hell has access to the federal account?
Then we all do, but it was a dead account till there was a shadow edit over in like October, giving the DOJ access to it. It's literally
Is this where all our taxes and everything goes, portions of it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the one that's.
It was one that used to be managed by the old county, right? The old government, right?
Okay.
So there was like $100 million in there, right?
Right.
But when you start playing games with these funds like this, like when it's viewed as this is my personal account because I have access to it, that's when bad things happen. That's when you enter into like opening up the door for financial crises. It opens up the door for, let's just the obvious, right? Where there's no budgeting. It removes a sense of budgeting because you're effectively printing money unregulated, right? Does it kind of make sense?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like right now we have $420 million in the county account for Los Santos County. As a consequence of all this, on Saturday, I'm actually going to send an email to the governor and be like, hey, we probably want to go and invest like 400 million of this, because let me give you the what someone could do if the DOJ is doing what they're doing. If Blaine County has done what they did, imagine what would happen if that $400 million were to just start being given away.
Right.
Like that would hyper inflate the economy such that those that are around right now, like, you know what I mean? Property would skyrocket, like, I don't know. Anyways, so there's a lot happening, a lot of that. We're trying to figure out what to do next. But our goal is to bring some like normality, some just basic expectations from everybody, so that there is no further damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know who? I don't know if you want to go into details. Do we know who is taken out of the federal and given to BCSO?
It was Arcadia. Yeah. Via Sean Danielson. And that's where it gets really spicy because he's like their clean guy, if I want to put it into gang terms, because he handles all the transactions, but the decisions are not made by him. So by doing something like that, you're kind of making the traceability of all this very convoluted. It even gets worse. Do you know like about like Hillary Clinton and the email service?
I feel like I've read about that.
Yeah, we're kind of dealing with that situation now too, because we already have uncovered that the VAF legislation had all the justices' names on it. I can tell you at least one of them never actually signed it. And he's told me that directly.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Wait, you didn't know this?
No.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. McNee never... Once again, this is confidential because it's still being cooked.
Right.
He told me he never signed it. He gave his opinion on it. Right? He never signed it. His signature's on there. So you now have to ask the question, which other state legislation was enacted without proper signatures? When a FOIA was requested, they said, we don't have the votes anymore. We don't have a record. And to give you a comparison from day one, I'll tell you, and I use this example, the bonuses I gave in Christmas.
Yeah.
Give me a sec. Takes me 2 seconds. Discretionary spending. A vote was brought up. Or I'll just give you an EMS one. Veronica Mars was owed $1 million from Osvaldo's event as a consequence of his negligence. Do we want to where I am going to be requesting $1 million to pay her off and ban Oswaldo from any further funding for events. This was made at 2/18/2025 at 3:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The vote was 6-0, and I have every single name in there. You know,
right. I mean, you have to have a paper trail here.
You have to have a paper trail.
Anytime you touch something.
Yes. Now imagine the highest end of government, like in DOJ, they don't even have that. Like, it's so easy. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you every single event, every single person in this city that has requested money in the last 2 terms, of which there are 111 requests, the last of which was made at 4/4 at 7:38 Eastern Standard Time. We have the date, we have the name, we have the personal account, we have the business account, we have the reasons for the request, we have the document, all of which goes into the transaction, right? This is like basic bare bones stuff. So the notion that it's too difficult doesn't make any sense, because it's me and people that have never been in these positions before that have done this, right? So so
are these things that are going to be brought up during this impeachment hearing with the governor?
I don't think so. I did recommend for Barrett to collate it all, so that at least the other discoveries can be put into his purview. Transparently, once again, the goal here is not to say these are evil people or whatever. The goal is that it burns enough of a fire under their ass to make change, right? To get back into line. And so I am hoping he does make that document so that the governor at least has a sense of what's occurring. Because the last thing I want is a really good thing, which is representation of people deciding the fate of the state, to burn down, because it's a very interesting project, I think, that we have embarked on, and I'd hate to see it to go away.
Right.
Not anytime soon, but in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways,
do we have a date set for when the governor's coming?
I don't know if that's
like to be present.
That's a good question. That is something I'm not comfortable sharing. That should be said. I would ask Barrett. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, and then
there is a date set, though. You're saying?
Yes. It's
okay.
But I think the exact details, that's something Barrett is gonna.
Understood.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all Peters can come in after that. I just I'm sure you
I'll
understand.
just meet with him here. I haven't seen him for a bit here. He's
okay.
Been very busy.
Well, if that's the case, is there anything for me? I know there's some questions around, like, I know that Doc brought up the question about the capital punishments, timing, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, there's no conspiracy. It's because Lang and Edgar are currently potentially facing death row. And in turn, that has been spurring the conversation of, well, can the justices execute them, right? Can they throw them in for life? Is there clemency? And so hence comes this these options, but as can be seen in there, it is very well thought out. It requires effectively both mayors to both agree that the death sentence is reduced down to life, or a life sentence is removed, leaving the DOJ with the discretion. So let's say both mayors, democratically elected, are like, we do not believe, based on the feelings of the population, that this individual should be damned for life. The DOJ, it would require both mayors to be in agreement, and then it would be left up to the DOJ to give a option. So they could pick like 900 months, 9,000 months if they want. But
yeah, I don't feel strongly either other way myself. Personally, leaving that on the table isn't something I'm against. If somebody's taking the taking someone's life at their own hands, especially multiple, but then also leave it in DOJ's hands, you know, or maybe a jury's hands. I don't know. I don't know how I feel on that one yet.
The way that my argument would be is that court functions on beyond a reasonable doubt. There is no absolute certainty. And as such, when a judgment is made, that justice is saying, to the best of our understanding of what has been conveyed, this individual did it. But it's not an absolute truth, right? But what is an absolute truth is the state and that same hand ending someone's life, right? Or damning them forever. And you know, a lot of people in the history of the United States have been put in on death row, and then new evidences come up to play, and luckily they've been taken off. So it's you know, it's that'll be my argument.
Plead guilty?
I'm sorry?
What if they plead guilty to killing someone?
Sometimes they played guilty to prevent someone else from dying. So never a fault to begin with, right?
In what sense? You're saying they plead guilty to prevent someone else's death, meaning they're covering
or some, like, let's say my mother, right? Let's say she burnt the house down on a stove, and you know, it killed someone inside, and I'm like, I can't see my mother do it, but then I fell on the sword, or vice versa, right? A mother taking the, you know, there's a lot of those opportunities. Saying that you're guilty doesn't, you know, and not to mention there's the rest other factors, right?
Oh,
yeah. So I don't know. It's at the end of the day, though, that's kind of the intent behind this, is that every person in San Andreas has their own political, spiritual opinions on the matter, and it should be the collective, I think, that makes such a I want to put that ultimate decision, that capital decision, in the hands of the people rather than in the hands of the state. So that's kind of
and by the people, you mean the mayor's ability to. Does it go to some sort of hearing, or do you just block? What is so? Once the process takes place,
they would request it, right? So you can't do it on. No one can do it on behalf of somebody. Let's say I'm being put up for death, right? I put in the request. That request can be accepted by either of the two mayors. We decided either of the two because we didn't want it to fall into this like jurisdictional black hole, right? They accept it with their reasoning, right? So you have to provide a reasoning, your what compelled you to do it. And then the other mayor has up to 7 days to respond with an agree or a disagree, or it times out after 7. And so you would need the collective two voices of the people to effectively agree to clemency, while still keeping the reduction from life or death into the hands of the DOJ. So theoretically, they could give someone like 9,000 years, right? Yeah. So anyways, I got to get out to that circle. There is the court case happening, and I can't miss that. So
yeah, I need to be there as well.
Yep. If any of the officers have any questions about the stuff, like concerns or whatever, I would like to hear it voiced, because I know sometimes, if I'm going to be transparent, conspiracy theories do run wild. And I don't want their opinions to be not said out loud, because if I don't hear them, I can't do anything.
If they bring anything up to me, I'll direct them to you. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right.
Take care, Nino.